Hi guys! So I'm so excited I'm finally able to bring you my honeymoon / vacation packing guide. I know that a while back, almost when I first started this YouTube channel, I had created a video about honeymoon and vacation packing, like tips and stuff like that to share with you. The reason behind that video was because Josh and I actually went to Mexico at the end of January of this year, and I was so stressed out about packing. I was like, oh my god, what are we going to do? What are we going to bring? We did so much research because we don't really travel that often. I am kind of ashamed to admit that, but we just don't, especially internationally. It was the first time that we had gone to a place where we actually needed a passport. So we are definitely not seasoned travelers by any means, and so we had done a ton of research, and we kept thinking to ourselves, like, you know, planning a wedding on top of like trying to pack for your honeymoon all at the same time must be really stressful for a lot of you brides and grooms out there. So I thought that when we got back I would, you know, record a video of what we found useful and what we didn't when we were actually in Mexico. So when I got back I did record the video. It ended up being about, I think, like 17 or 18 minutes. And I had edited it down a lot to get to that point. And then I uploaded it to YouTube, and YouTube sent me a message saying that they couldn't make it live because it was longer than 15 minutes and my account was not yet at the point, like the status, I guess, where it was allowed to upload more than 15-minute videos. So I was so bummed. I decided to just not re-record it just because it took me a really long time to edit it, and I was just like, oh, you know what, I don't really want to put the time and effort into it just because I had already put so much time and effort into it. So I decided to hold off until it let me upload longer than 15-minute videos. So I got to a point where I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never happened. And about 2 weeks ago, I actually just deleted it. I was like, you know what, screw it. If it ever gets to a point where I am able to upload longer videos, I'll just re-record it. So about 3 days after that, maybe like 3 or 4 days after that, I got an email from YouTube saying that I could upload longer videos. I was so upset. I was just like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. That's just so my luck. But anyway, I decided, I didn't delete it from my computer, so technically I could just re-upload the original. I decided to just go ahead and re-record a new video anyway, just because now that I've had time to sink in, I've done more research on Mexico, I feel like I have more of a solid basis to be giving you guys advice and tips and stuff. I think this one will actually just be a little bit more streamlined for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. One note that I did want to just kind of mention beforehand as well, actually two things. One, like I said, Josh and I are not seasoned travelers. These are kind of basic beginner tips, especially focusing on tropical Caribbean vacations. I'm going to be referring a lot to Mexico just because that's the only place that we've been. So if you do travel up, this video might be really basic for you and you might just want to go ahead and skip it or turn it off altogether. Two, I am not wearing my glasses. I haven't been wearing my glasses in some videos just because it depends on the lighting of the day. We have a bay window over that way, and sometimes the light reflects funny and it like looks weird on camera and you like can't see my eyes. So if there's anything going on that day where I feel like that's gonna like look really weird in the camera, I will just take off my glasses. So I had to do that today after doing some test shots. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. If you guys are interested in hearing my tips for packing for a honeymoon or just a regular vacation, just keep on watching. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm actually going to talk about is packing makeup and toiletries, because that was, I think, the biggest thing that I had trouble with. Unfortunately, I way overpacked makeup. If you guys know me, you know that makeup is kind of a hobby of mine. I don't have a huge collection compared to a lot of people that I know, but I do have a pretty big one. So trying to figure out what to pack was definitely difficult. I fit everything into a small toiletry bag, which I was actually really impressed with myself. One thing I did overpack were eyeshadows. This was not the palette that I brought, but it was about the same size. I actually just got this. This is a Z palette. It's magnetic, and these are all my MAC and NYX shadows. So they're all in there, and you can just kind of like move them around and stuff. See? But yeah, so Z palette makes a smaller size. If you guys are into makeup and you do like to travel with different shades of eyeshadows and stuff like that, I'd recommend that you go to Z Palette if you haven't heard of them already. If you're already into makeup, you probably have. But they do make a smaller one. It's $16, and I think I'm actually going to get one down the line just because for traveling it makes so much more sense than bringing this gigantic thing with me. And it fits 9 MAC shadows, so it's about this size right here. And it's just so much more convenient for travel. That way you can bring, you know, a few neutrals, a few colors, and you don't feel like, you know, if you happen to want to go out when you're out on vacation and you want to jazz up your makeup a little bit, you don't feel like you're completely helpless. So I did overpack eyeshadows. I barely ever use them. I honestly think that if we went out to dinner at our resort, I threw on some eyeliner and like a wash of just a neutral color. I think most of the part, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with MAC shadows, but this one right here is called Naked Lunch. It's the one I use most often, and that was pretty much the only one that I wore when I was there. So I highly recommend cutting back on eyeshadows and stuff. I think as far as other makeup products, I only brought a tinted moisturizer, an eyeliner, blush and bronzer just to make it look like I had some color if we were taking pictures and we went out at night. Mascara, I brought waterproof mascara, but I didn't wear it on the beach or anything like that. I never do my makeup when I go to the beach. I brought some lipstick. Oh, I did bring some lipsticks. One is the color that I'm wearing now, and it's by MAC, and it's called So Chaud or So Chaud. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but it looks like this. It's a gorgeous vintage red color. I do believe I featured it in my vintage red lipstick video, which I can link to below if you guys are interested. The color I'm wearing now, I love it. It's very festive, I thought. And the other one was by Revlon. It's called Coral Berry. It looks like this. Revlon does not test on animals, so I was really excited that I could keep this one. I did wear this one a lot when we were out, just like during the day, and then I wore this one I think when we went out to dinner a few times. So other than that, I just wore chapstick. I brought my EOS lip balm with me in Summer Fruit or Summer Passion or whatever. It's the hot pink one. And that was pretty much it as far as makeup. As far as toiletries, when you're traveling, you guys know, of course, that you have to put everything in those little tiny 3-ounce bottles. So I had a lot of trouble actually finding little bottles that I could pack with me. And the only reason I had to buy them was because a lot of the shampoos that I use, I have to use a certain kind of shampoo because I have like a scalp issue, so I have special shampoo that I really felt like it was necessary to bring with me. They don't come in little travel bottles. So I went to the dollar store. Theirs looked super cheap, like they would leak all over. I went to Target and there was the same situation. I ended up going to Sally Beauty Supply, and they had just tiny little shampoo bottles that had like a squeezy tube and everything. Perfect. And they were only $1.29. So I bought 2 of those for my shampoo and conditioner, and then I got these little bottles at the Container Store. I think these were 99 cents for my sunless tanner. If you do apply sunless tanner before you leave for vacation, I'd highly recommend that you bring just a small amount. Like, don't even fill it up past here, just because you're going to want to like keep it up when you're there. That way it's not like halfway through your vacation and you're already like getting pale again. That just kind of makes no sense. So I did bring some with me. I put it in this little pump. It was perfect. It fit right into my Ziploc bag with the other 2 shampoo and conditioner bottles, and I was good to go. Okay, moving on. I do recommend women, of course, not men, that if you don't have a good sized purse, that you go out and buy one that is good for just like walking around outside of the grounds or even on the grounds at the resort if your resort is pretty big. The purse that I normally carry around in everyday life, just not going to work on vacation. It's just too cumbersome. I carry around too much crap. And then the wallet that I carry around is a big checkbook wallet, so I didn't want to bring that with me either. And I do have a large purse collection, but pretty much all of them are kind of like that. They just weren't really good for vacation. So I set out to buy a new one. I found one at Old Navy. My budget was like 20 bucks. I like really did not want to spend a lot on a brand new purse I'd probably only use on like Caribbean vacation. So I found this one at Old Navy. It was 20 bucks. It looks like this. It looked very tropical, kind of resort vacation-like to me. And it had a lot of compartments, which I was really excited about, just to kind of keep me organized. And one thing that I liked about it was that we had this separate section in the front here on top that we kept all of the things that we needed to access on a regular basis, like our towel cards for our resort, our room keys, our passports when we actually were like going to and from the airport. Otherwise, we kept them in our safe in our hotel room, things like that. And then on the front pocket here, I actually kept this, and this is my wallet for vacation. I'd highly recommend getting this if you can. I got mine at DSW. I think it was $5.95, so it was such a good deal. I kept my ID in here, and then inside on this little pull thing, I kept like our credit cards, my debit card, and then just some extra cash and then coins in here. So it ended up being really, really good because it didn't take up a lot of space. My checkbook wallet, obviously, in comparison, is like ridiculous. So I'd highly recommend getting a very, very condensed wallet, change, carry-on type thing if you can, especially if you can get one at DSW for $6. It's like, where are you going? So this purse was perfect because I could wear it over my shoulder. It fit everything that I needed while not being overly cumbersome or just a pain in the butt in general. So as far as things that we carried around on a regular basis, sunblock of course, because that's super important, especially since Josh and I are so fair. We burn really easily. Obviously the things that we just talked about, like our wallet and money and stuff like that. I did purchase this little container from the Container Store, which was also, I think it was 69 cents. We actually put medications in here as far as just like pain relievers, like ibuprofen or Aleve or whatever. Just because in case we got a headache when we were out and about, we didn't want it to affect or ruin our entire day. And these are so much more convenient than those giant bottles that you get at Target. So we threw some pills in here and I threw that in the purse. That was pretty much it. Oh, like camera, we carried around our flip in there, things like that. So we didn't carry around too much, but I found that it was the perfect size, that we still had some extra space if we were out in town and we were purchasing souvenirs and all that good stuff. So that was actually the perfect size. Old Navy always has really cute resort looking type things as soon as their spring collection comes out, and it comes out like right before we left actually. I think I got a few things for vacation there, and I think I went shopping like mid-January because we left in the end of January. So highly recommend Old Navy. Right before you leave if you're going on a January vacation. They always have really cute stuff for spring. Okay, so moving on. As far as packing clothes and bathing suits and all that good stuff, here's my big tip for you guys. If you're going for 7 days or less, we went for 6 nights, so kind of 7 days. If you're going for 7 days or less, I'd highly recommend that you fit everything into one carry-on suitcase and then one personal carry-on like duffel bag or something. Josh and I did this and it worked out perfectly for us because we didn't have to check our luggage, which was a huge perk, especially because most airlines, they charge for that and it totally sucks. So we fit everything into, we each brought a carry-on suitcase and then a carry-on bag. I brought my carry-on suitcase and then like a duffel bag that was about this big, and it fit my purse because my purse would have counted as my personal carry-on item, and also a travel pillow and toiletries and like a few miscellaneous items. So that ended up working out perfectly for us. We were so happy because we did have a layover and we didn't want to have to worry about losing our luggage once we got to Mexico. So yeah, if it doesn't fit into your carry-on suitcase or your extra carry-on, don't bring it because you're not going to need it. It's so easy to overpack for vacation and you honestly barely end up using any of it. So as far as like clothes and bathing suits and all that stuff, just fit what you think you're going to use. And like I said, it's a really good tool to kind of edit yourself by saying, if it doesn't fit, don't bring it. If it fits in there and you think you're going to need it, go ahead and pack it. It'll make you feel better. You're not going to end up overpacking if you limit yourself to one carry-on suitcase. As far as bathing suits, I'd highly recommend one bathing suit for every 2 days that you're there, unless you really don't want to buy more bathing suits and you only have like 1 or 2. You can always bring like laundry detergent or something, but I am a little bit of a neat freak, sanitation freak, germ freak, so for me wearing a bathing suit longer than 2 times in a row without washing it, not so cool in my book. So if you're a little bit like me, I definitely recommend one bathing suit for every 2 days that you're there. I found that was the perfect ratio for us, especially because some days you're not going to wear your bathing suit all day. Like we didn't, some days we just went to the beach for like 3 or 4 hours and then that was it. So that ended up working out perfectly for us. As far as shorts and shirts and stuff, like I said, just kind of use your own judgment and you'll be fine. One thing you're going to have to really keep an eye out for also are dress codes at the resort restaurants. If you are staying at like an all-inclusive resort that has restaurants, go ahead and go to the website, look at the dress codes. If you go under like dining or restaurants or whatever, the dress codes will be there. Some of ours did have dress codes. So for example, there were, I think the only like reservations restaurant, the men had to wear long pants and like closed-toed shoes. So my husband Josh couldn't wear sandals to the restaurants, which kind of sucked because he really wasn't planning on bringing dress shoes. So I felt bad for him because for me, I was able to just pack sundresses and those barely take up any space. And then I only brought 1 pair of like dressy wedges and I was going to bring those anyway. So it didn't really matter to me, but for guys, you're definitely going to have to look into that as well. Okay, so as far as bringing laptops to laptop or not to laptop on vacation, we originally were not going to bring our laptops, but we ended up bringing mine. I have a small MacBook. It's very lightweight and very easy to travel with. We ended up bringing it only because our hotel and resort had free wireless in the lobby. And so I was like, well, our families are probably going to want to know like if we've gotten there okay, if we're alive and well. So we did bring our laptop just so we didn't have to pay for any internet when we were down in Mexico. I'm actually really glad that we did, just because late at night at our resort there really wasn't a lot going on. The theater situation was not something that we were really interested in. And our lobby was actually an open air lobby, and it kind of became a really fun hangout at night. So for like a half an hour every night we did check our email and go online and just kind of keep up to date on everything, and I actually enjoyed it. And we did check beforehand. Our hotel room had a laptop size safe in the closet, so that was also the only other reason that we did bring our laptop, just because we felt like we could store it in there and it was safe and we weren't going to be worried about it getting stolen. So my advice to you as far as bringing laptops, if you do have an in-room safe that you can control the password and everything, and it is laptop size, and you have free wireless in your hotel, consider bringing it if you're the kind of person that needs to check your email a lot. Me being a business owner, I felt like it was kind of necessary. If you don't have free wireless internet at your hotel and you're going to have to pay for it anyway, I would suggest leaving your laptop at home unless if for some reason you really think you're going to want to access it like a lot every day. That's really up to you. It's a personal call. I wouldn't recommend it though. I would just kind of budget a few extra dollars a day for accessing internet at your hotel or in town or somewhere like that, just because it's one less thing you'll have to pack. Okay, so another question that we were like really stuck on before we left was if we should tip, because I believe that our resort included tips and gratuities within the fees for staying there. The general consensus after doing a ton of research online is that you should still tip for some things when you are at a resort that already includes tips and gratuities. So my aunt and uncle actually gave me this tip because they traveled to Mexico and the Dominican a lot for vacations at all-inclusives, and they said before you leave, go to the bank, take out like 50 bucks in singles, and that way you have tip money for the whole week that you're there. We did this and we were so glad that we did. It was very easy and convenient. We never felt like we had to get change from anywhere. So what we did was we tipped, I think we over tipped a lot. I'm not sure what we're going to do when we go next year. I don't know, we generally over tip anyway. We just feel like, especially in the service industry, my sister works in the service industry, and especially in Mexico where people, they only make a few bucks a day is like their salary or hourly wages. So we felt like, what's a few dollars to us? If we can afford to go on vacation, we can afford to tip for people that are, giving good service. So generally at breakfast we tipped $1. We just left it on the table. Lunch we did the same thing. Dinner we would tip, I think, $2 just because it's a little bit more intricate as far as service because you're getting courses and things like that, whereas breakfast and lunch were usually buffets. And then for drinks we would tip like every other drink, I believe. We didn't tip every drink just because we drank a little bit. We drank a lot, actually. Not that we were like drunk every day, but if you get like 4 or 5 drinks a day per person, that's quite a bit to be tipping every single day. So we tipped like every other drink, and if we had a bartender that we liked especially, we tipped him a lot. So yeah, you just kind of have to use your discretion and kind of see what other people are doing. If tipping gives you better service, you might as well just go ahead and do it. It's part of the fun of vacation. So yeah, just take out like 50 bucks in singles and you guys should be good as far as tipping. So one thing that we did have to go out of our way to purchase before we left, because we actually did a dolphin excursion. We swam with the dolphins when we were in Mexico. And on the website, and I didn't actually notice this until like a week before we were leaving, and I was scurrying to try to find where to buy this stuff, was all natural biodegradable sunscreen, because the chemicals in regular sunscreen can be harmful to the dolphins and other wildlife that's in the ocean. So we found this at Whole Foods. It's Badger sunscreen. It's like the weirdest name ever. I'm not sure why they call it this, but it is all natural. It's eco-friendly. It's safe for animals. It's safe for kids. The highest SPF though that we could find for all natural sunscreen was SPF 30. So that was kind of disappointing because we didn't feel like I was being fully protected, but it is UVA and UVB protection, so that was also a good thing. I'm not a fan of this all-natural sunscreen. It's very, very thick and very hard to spread, and it doesn't have a bad smell or anything, but it just, I don't know. I don't like it. It's very pasty. It's like I looked white when I put it on, and I did not enjoy that at all. But I mean, if you're gonna be helping to save the animals or save the wildlife or whatever, it's definitely something that you should pay attention to. Unfortunately, when we got there, it wasn't enforced, which was kind of sad, because if the chemicals are hurting the dolphins, why aren't they, you know, telling people that you have to have biodegradable sunscreen? I don't know. But I'm glad that we did buy it. We I think we're doing an animal excursion next time we go. I'm not sure exactly what yet. I think we're gonna go spend some time with monkeys. This was definitely on their website as well, so we're just gonna save it and bring it with us. So anywho, that's also a good tip for you guys if you are considering going on any animal excursions whatsoever. Okay, so one of the last things I'm gonna talk about is actually Mexico in general. I was really nervous about getting sick. My mom had been to Cozumel years ago, and she got Montezuma's revenge, and she was so worried that I was gonna get sick or shot or whatever. One, we felt very safe in Mexico. We never felt like we were in danger, and we actually did a lot of walking outside our resort to get to like other areas of the island. Never felt like we were in danger, always felt very, very safe. So I know that Mexico has been in the news recently for all the drug cartels and such, but you can get really good deals right now. And as long as you use common sense when you travel, I mean, I live in Chicago currently, so I think it's actually more dangerous here on the south side sometimes than it is in Mexico. So just do your research, know that the resort areas and the touristy areas of Mexico are very safe, and you can get such good deals right now because of all the news that's going on with the drug cartels. So that said, the other big thing with Mexico is getting sick from the water. Most hotels these days are on purified water. They wash all their fruits and vegetables with purified water. All their ice is made from purified water. We did have to use purified water from like a water jug type place outside of our room in our resort. You have to make sure that you rinse and brush your teeth with that water instead of the faucet water, so we were very careful about that. But they did tell you that online before you left on the website, so that was really good. But I was still really nervous. I do have a sensitive stomach. That's one thing that I'm known for getting sick for, is having stomach issues and stomach viruses and all that stuff. So we did pack lots and lots of Pepto-Bismol tablets. I didn't have to use them once. I was so proud of myself. I never once got sick, but it felt good knowing that if we did get sick, we wouldn't have to go to like a drugstore in Mexico somewhere and pay an arm and a leg for, you know, medications or whatever. So definitely pack Pepto-Bismol. Just go to Target, get the generic one that comes in a box. Don't get the liquid ones because they're over 3 ounces and you'll have to transfer it to a smaller container. So get the tablets. That worked out really well for us. And then if you are super concerned about it, I did read online that a couple days before you leave, eat yogurt like 1 to 2 times a day, and that has natural antibacterial elements in it to help you get rid of like stuff in your body. So we actually were gonna do that, but we forgot because we're not yogurt eaters naturally. So but we didn't do that, and we were fine the whole time we were there. So I feel like that didn't make any sense, but I hope it did. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk to you guys about, if you do stay at an all-inclusive, this is one thing that I wasn't quite prepared for. Resort food, I think no matter where you stay, whether it's a 3-star resort or a 5-star resort, I think the food overall is going to not be very good. We stayed at, I think it was a 3.5-star resort. Honestly, when we got there, it felt like a 4 or 5-star resort, but the only thing that kept it back was the food. The food at the buffet especially was awful. Breakfast was awesome. They always had great breakfast. Fresh squeezed juices. They had mango juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, papaya juice, and they were all amazing. They had all kinds of pastries. Oh, it was so good. Lunch and dinner, though, were iffy at the buffet. The desserts, they looked like they came from a grocery store chain. They were very tasteless. They had no flavor. They were very kind of like chewy, rubbery. They were disgusting. The salad bar was a joke. Not very many options. The meats at dinner, like I don't really eat meat, but I do eat seafood. I got fish one night and I had one bite and it was rubbery and I was like, oh, this is not even worth eating. We did have another restaurant on the resort though that had like, it was an Italian restaurant, you had to make reservations for it. It was the more upscale place to go. We ate there I think every other night because we just couldn't really stomach the buffet for dinner. And that was okay. It was, you know, you kind of had to use your common sense as far as what was good there and what wasn't. We just kind of just started tasting as much as possible. We finally eventually figured that when you find something good, stick with it, because you're probably not going to find something better. So between the two of us, between sharing entrees and things like that, we finally figured out what we liked and what we didn't. But as far as resort food, just kind of on it not being that great. And that way, if it is a little bit better than your expectations, you'll be blown away by it. So I have read that the resort that we're staying at this coming January is a little bit better with food. The buffet looked like it had a lot more choices. It's hard for us too because we are vegetarian. Well, Josh is vegetarian, I'm pescatarian. So it is a little bit more limiting for us as well. So keep that in mind too if you do have special dietary requirements. So we did eat off the resort grounds one night in town, but our resort was kind of far from town, so it was expensive to get there by taxi. So we did eat at the resort most of the time. It wasn't horrible by any means. I mean, some of the parts of the buffet really were not good, but I mean, just kind of expect that going in. I didn't really expect that. I expected the food to be pretty decent, but apparently after doing a lot of research, buffets and stuff at all-inclusives are not known for being that good. And I know that that's a beginner tip. I know that I should have known that going in, but I didn't. So I want to just kind of share that with you guys and make sure that you are aware of that as well, so you weren't completely disappointed when you started eating at your all-inclusive resort. So that is it. The only thing that I can really tell you guys is that we had a blast in Mexico. Like, we still think about how much fun we had. We were so relaxed the entire time. The beach was amazing. I mean, if you're at the Caribbean, it's really hard to not have a good time, I think. Just relax. Don't sweat the small stuff. Try to learn the language if you can. I had so much fun trying to speak Spanish. I ordered all of our drinks in Spanish, and I think that got you brownie points with the bartenders as well. So we had an absolute blast, and I've heard that the same goes for Dominican Republic too. I know a lot of people that I know have stayed in Punta Cana and they've had the exact same experiences. As far as booking vacations, we have gone to Apple and Cheap Caribbean, and because we like to stay 6 nights, those places only offer 5- and 7-day vacations. I think longer than that too, but we have never been able to find a good deal on those websites. I know that a lot of people have really good luck with them, especially during off-season rates, but we go high season just because it's not wedding season. That's really the only time that we can get away is like in the winter time, and that is high season for Caribbean travel. Travelocity and Orbitz have been the best places we found deals. So I mean, obviously do your research and see, you know, what you're finding as well. If you can do a 5 or an even 7-day vacation, maybe Apple or Cheap Caribbean is the way to go. But if you want to do a nice even 6-night vacation, I would definitely recommend Orbitz or Travelocity. And trust me, you guys, we did so much research on pricing. Like, we were comparing everything for like months and months and months. So that is a very good tip that I would like to recommend. But yeah, that's it, you guys. I hope that you found that useful. And like I said, it was kind of focused more on like beginner traveling and all that good stuff. But I hope that you at least found 1 or 2 things that might put you to ease as you are packing for your honeymoon and or vacation, either way. So I hope that this video finds you guys well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.